everyone. I believe there are some technical problems with our live show this evening, but that still the show must go on. Uh, G, am I heard? G, is it our live show is okay? Okay, thank you very much. Welcome home. No, we were not around last Tuesday. Happy New Year, everyone. So this is season five of episode three of Students and Me, and we have a very exciting and powerful theme for this month of January. But before anything else, I would like to invite each one of you to really share and like our episode this evening. Magandang gabi, maayong gabi, taga Davao. And before I will continue, I would like to welcome our another host here in Talk Live channel, Students and Me, Ate Rose. And
Hi.
viewers, we do have some technical problem a while ago. I do not know what's happening.
Okay.
Okay,
Am I heard?
yeah, you're clear, Ate Rose.
Maybe later on I will transfer to my cell phone because kanina nag-freeze, no, nag-freeze.
Yeah.
Okay, so good evening our viewers. Happy New Year. And I hope you will enjoy our episode tonight. We have a very wonderful and able guest for tonight. And I think the topic that we will have will be very, very much helpful to everyone. No? So sit back and enjoy.
Yeah, that's good. So, welcome home, Ate Rose. No, we've been on air last Tuesday. We did have you did have a good rest, Ate Rose. Okay, so
Yeah, of
but
course, of
before we will
course.
continue, I would like to welcome our viewers to this evening. Maybe there are, yeah, we have Amelia Agustin Arnaldo. Okay, good evening. Thank you very much for joining us, Ma'am Amelia. Okay. So we have a very exciting sharing this evening, Ate Rose. No?
Yeah.
No? Minimalism, less is better. No, we've been talking this with our
Mm.
students. No, when you were still teaching, and now I'm still an active teacher of Holy Cross of Davao College. But we will not. No, we will continue our sharing with this topic tonight with a very what we call this one. I cannot imagine that. Uh, he is with us this evening. No, we thank you, Angeli, our tech, for introducing him to us. Okay, so I would like to introduce our guest this evening. An American who lived in California for over 35 years, where he worked in education and learned a little Spanish from his Guatemalan immigrant parents. He then lived in Taiwan for over 4 years, where he was speaker at the Academia Sinica, and his writing has appeared. Imagine, Ati Rose, he's also a writer, no, in the Taipei Times, which is Taiwan's only English language newspaper with daily printed edition. He also learned there a little Mandarin. And for the past 4 years, he has been here living in Davao and as a freelance business consultant. Maybe, or he could tell more about himself. Let's welcome, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Students and Me, Mr. Andres Chang. Hi, Andres. Good
Hello.
evening. So, would you
Hello,
mind greeting
hello.
our viewers this evening? Okay.
Hello. What was that?
Kumusta? That's it.
Okay. Kamusta? Okay
Yeah.
lang. Magandang
Okay
gabi,
lang.
everybody.
Wow, maganda nga. Would you mind telling more about yourself beside the things that I introduced? Okay.
Well, my name is Andres Chang, and first of all, sorry, English only,
Yeah.
and and my name is Andres Chang, but I am not Filipino, and I am not half Filipino. My parents are not Filipino. I'm only Filipino by marriage. So,
Wow.
um, so I really enjoy living in Davao, and thank you very much for inviting me and giving me the opportunity to share with your audience.
Yeah. Maybe and let us know if there are the audience would be coming in if they have some questions and also some insights also with our theme this evening on minimalism. Less is better. Okay. So Ate Rose, can we start the ball rolling? The so do you have some thoughts for Andres tonight? Some questions that he is willing to answer for our viewers this evening. Okay, Ate Rose. You cannot be heard, Ate Rose. Maybe you are unmuted. You are muted.
No,
Yeah, yeah. It's okay. It's okay.
Okay
Okay.
na? Okay,
Yeah.
so thank you very much, Andres, for gracing the show. No, we really have a very good topic tonight, and as I have mentioned kanina, we are on the time of having resolutions. No, New Year's resolutions, and this topic could help a lot. Okay, now we have varied viewers tonight. No, from different generations, from baby boomers, no, the millennials, the Gen Z, then the Alpha, no, Alpha generation. So the term minimalism is not so clear for everyone. So would you mind defining for us what minimalism is?
Yeah, that's
Well,
it.
Well, there is no one definition of minimalism, and
Mm.
there are actually many different definitions of minimalism, and by no means am I the founder of minimalism. No, 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 no. Minimalism has been around for a very long time under different
Um,
names. I think a lot of young people are really into it now. Uh, I should say the people in their 20s, especially the people who are 20 in their 20s and
mm,
who are single, because when you're single and you're retired, or you're just single and just starting out, or maybe you're single and you're not working and you're living with your parents, then it's very easy to be a minimalist, because a minimalist is I would define minimalism as living only with what you need, or trying your
okay.
best to live
Okay.
only with what you need. Now,
Okay.
and to give an example, the example I always give is a car. Now, I'm very
Mm,
lucky. I live in Davao. I teach English online, and to other foreigners in Asia, not to Filipinos, but most of my students are Taiwanese, Japanese, South Korean, and Chinese. Anyway, I'm very lucky because I only need to work 20 hours a week, and I make enough money to support myself. Now, if I were to buy a car, that would be very convenient to have
Yeah.
a car in Davao. It's very convenient. Um, but consider at the same time, it's very inconvenient. Okay, and here's why. Well, first of all, you know, I'm calling, let's say I'm calling a potential landlord. Oh, hi, yeah, do you have a room? Oh, and do you have parking? You know, so maybe if they don't have parking, then I have to find a parking spot every night. And then every time I drive somewhere, maybe I go to a Breeza Mall and I do some shopping. Well,
mm,
I gotta, is there gonna be parking? So first I gotta find a place to park. And then after do all my grocery shopping and all of that, then I gotta take it all back to my car. Then I gotta drive
mm,
all the way back to my place. And then I gotta find a
mm,
parking spot, or
mm,
maybe just talk to the security guard. Listen, let me please park just right in front of the building. I'll unload everything. And after I unload everything, then I got to get back in the car, and then I got to go find a parking spot. Okay, okay, okay. Now, uh, and then in addition to all of that, every now and then I have to take, so I have to take the time to find parking. I have to take the time to fill the car up with gas every now and then. And maybe sometimes I have to take the time to get the car repaired, flat tire, engine maintenance, oil change, whatever. These things just happen, you know? So then, what if I don't have a car? You know, I just take the Jeep everywhere, or the tricycle everywhere, or the taxi everywhere. And I don't have to worry about parking. Now, everybody's situation is different. Maybe you live in a certain area where the taxis and the trikes and the Jeeps don't go. Okay, maybe you have a small business and you need that big car, not just to drive yourself around, but to drive your inventory around. I know some people who have a restaurant, maybe they need a big car to drive their food around. But consider, if you don't need the car, then you don't need it, and that's less of a headache. You don't deal with the stress of traffic. Traffic here in Davao can really slow sometimes. Right now, when I say that, all the Manileños and Cebuanos are saying, "Oh, will you shut up? You don't know what bad traffic is." And okay, maybe in Davao we don't. But this is just anecdotal. But a few years ago, I was talking to a taxi driver in Davao. We were going down JP Laurel, and there was a lot of traffic. And he said to me, in a few years, the traffic here will be like Manila.
True.
So
True.
if you don't have a car, you don't have to deal with parking, gas, maintenance, traffic, and driving in traffic as opposed to sitting in the back seat in traffic are two totally different things. There's much less stress when you're not driving. And consider, you save money. I don't have to pay the car payments. I don't have to pay the gas payments. I don't have to pay the insurance payments. I don't have to pay the maintenance payments. If there's a parking fee in this garage or that garage, I don't got to do that. What if my car gets dirty? Oh, I got to wash it. And what if I get pulled over by the police and I have to pay a ticket? Hey, if I don't have a car, I don't get any parking tickets. So minimalism. So that's an example of minimalism. It's realizing, you know what? I like this. It's convenient, but do I need it? And maybe you do. Maybe whoever's watching right now, maybe you do need that car. But if you got a car, and it's especially if you're lucky enough and privileged enough and have enough money that you have two cars, and I'm not attacking wealthy people. There's nothing wrong with being a rich person. But if you have two cars, if you got two cars, and if it's just you and your spouse, especially if it's just you and your spouse, you're retired, the kids are all married and they've all moved out, do you really need that fleet or that fleet of cars that you've accumulated over the years, and that some of them just sit there? Do you really need them? I'm not kidding. I did this once. I'm probably going to get in trouble if the police are watching, but I'm going to say it anyway. I think the police have more problems on their hands than what I'm about to say. One time I found this, it was just this car. And you see, I'm an American. If I saw this car, the state that it was, I would think, oh, that's an abandoned vehicle. Somebody left it there and they abandoned it. So what I did was, I'm not kidding, this is a true story. And I haven't even told my wife. So when she sees this on the internet, she's going to get back to me. She's going to yell and scream at me. She's going to give me tanpo for like a couple of days or something. But anyway, so I got on these gloves and I got this hoodie and these glasses. And I was able to open the car, the door, open everything, and then kind of look, is there anything here? And these two guys, they came up to me and said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Oh, I'm just looking for this car." Like, "That car belongs to somebody." And I said, "This car doesn't belong to anybody." It says, "Yes, there is. We're going to tell the owner. You're going to steal something." And I said, "I'm not going to steal anything from this car. If I wasn't here, you would steal from this car." So I was like, forget it. So I just left. I didn't want to deal. I didn't want to deal with it. But here's this guy with this car that he never, apparently, at least in my eyes, it looked like he never ever used it. it
Yeah.
looked like an abandoned vehicle. And I've seen
Mm,
abandoned
mm,
vehicles in, that's one of my hobbies. I go into
mm.
abandoned vehicles and I see if there's anything I can salvage. And this vehicle looked like it, but it wasn't. And that's an extreme example of, perhaps we can say, anti-minimalism, when you hoard things.
Wow, wow.
Okay, so
The word, the
basically,
word, the word
mm,
is hoarding. Yeah,
yeah,
hoarding.
Yeah, in a
collect,
way, hoarding is the
collect.
opposite of
It's
minimalism.
it's
Minimalism.
it's like collecting so many things, no? Okay, Andres, can we equate that also? If minimalism is, as you defined, is having less, no? Can we equate that with simplicity?
Absolutely, absolutely. The
Okay, okay.
Oh,
it it's living simply. You know,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
when you have a lot of things,
Mm,
um, the more things you have, the more complicated things can become, and the less
mm,
things you have, the simpler things can become. And
mm,
for a lot of people, they find, well, I don't know a lot, but for some people, um, they find that uh, they really enjoy having things simpler
yeah,
in their lives. They want a simple life, not an
yeah.
easy life, but a
Mm,
simple life, one that is not so complicated, one that is simple.
yeah,
yeah.
that's it.
Mm,
It's very, ano,
okay.
what you live
Mm,
according to what you need. Oh, very, very powerful words with from Andres Ate, no?
yeah, yeah. True, true.
So,
And there will be less headache, no, if you live
so
life
just
simple.
I just realized, no, Andres used the what you call this one, the car, no, the having car. I just realized, no, true. No, when you don't have a car, you don't worry for a gasoline, you don't worry for anything for repair.
Mm,
So
mm,
that's really a very
yeah,
concrete example
yeah.
of what minimalism
Mm,
is. But you
mm,
know, Ate Rose, Andres did
mm,
not discourage people. No, I would like to emphasize this for our viewers that for those who really needed it because they need for their business. No, I believe so. Am I correct with that, Andres? And if they really need that, so they could have it. But
yeah, yeah.
yeah, he would say that two or three cars is it's a little
Mm,
bit
yeah, I
Yes.
think
over.
yeah, for example, I have a friend, she's in the US now, and then
Yeah,
they are they had six children, no? So before they had a very big house, no, very big, long table, no, because there are many. And now that they're retired, they're downsizing everything, huh?
yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's another
And then
expression of
expression of minimalism.
minimalism, di ba, Andres? No, when you
Yeah.
downsize from a very big house with six bedrooms, now only with two bedrooms. Now one for the couple, and then when the children will visit, then they will have the other room. So they were trying to stream down, no, stream down their needs now that they are retired.
Okay,
So,
Ate Rose and Andres, we're just starting, no, but we have questions already. We would recognize some of our viewers before we will continue. Again, I said, good
mm,
evening, Coach Sena. So they would have another show after our show at 8:30.
mm,
And we have Ann Ali. Thank you for watching. Perang kailan lang. Ito ngayon, good evening, TLC and coaches and to your imported guest. It's our
mm.
avid viewer, Andres.
uh,
Okay?
uh,
And Ma'am Amelia said, live simply so that others may simply live. Oh, okay. We will
Mm.
make. Okay.
yeah.
And
Mm.
thank you for watching, my beloved husband. Thank you, Coach Joel, for watching. So he is in Tagum City now. That's why he's not around.
Mm.
And
Okay.
Andres, we have a question, and I believe you would like to answer this one. Kat Torres said, "Can you say minimalism is not for everybody?"
Mm.
No, I would say minimalism is for everybody.
Oh,
However, it's different for each person.
Mm.
It's
ah,
it's
Okay.
not it's not rigid. For example, take your glasses. Now, for some people, they don't like wearing, who need glasses. They don't like wearing glasses, so they just, you know, oh, I have to rub my temples, I have to rub my nose, and my glasses are so uncomfortable. And for some people, they wear contacts.
Yeah.
And for them, oh, this is perfect. Just the solution, the eyes, that's simple. That's so simple. It's so simple, you don't even know that I need glasses. You don't even know that I need corrective vision. But for other people, they try contact lenses and they're like, man, I hate this stuff. I've got the solution. I've got this extra caps that I have to unscrew, and then I've got this, and I've got these things in direct contact with my eyes. I mean, that alone, for some people, the thought of that alone is too much. It doesn't necessarily, maybe it won't even, maybe it will irritate your eyes. Some people try contact lenses, it irritates their eyes. And but for some people, they just don't even want to they just don't like the idea of something in direct contact with their eye the whole time. So I would say minimalism really is for everyone, but for everyone it is different. Okay. Even look at the headphones I'm wearing. Some people might, I hope, is this disturbing any sound? Can you guys hear me when I do this?
Yeah, we can still hear
Any
you.
distortion?
None.
Okay, good. So some people might, for example, I love these headphones. They're simple. Plug them in my ear, plug them in my laptop, no problem, I use them. Some people might think, I get this tangled up and then I have to wrap it up and carry it and take it everywhere, and that's just, and so one minimalist or a simplification of that is just go wireless. Now, I personally think I'm not going to spend that much money on a wireless. These are just fine with me. I don't need to go wireless. But some people, they might think, no, wireless is simpler because it's wireless. Some people might say this is simpler because it's just so simple. I just put it here, put it there, voila. So minimalism, I would say, is for everyone, but it's different for everyone. And by the way, I don't want to judge anyone. I don't want anyone to think that I am judging people for being materialistic. There's nothing wrong with if you have material things like a car, getting back to the car, and you like that car and enjoy that car, and especially if you need that car, that's not a bad thing. But I think what I like about minimalism is that it at the very least it can get us thinking. Some people might start thinking. Hopefully, some people after watching the show, they will think to themselves, you know what? And they'll start looking around where they live, and they'll start thinking, you know what? I've had that stupid picture. I'm 65 years old, and I've had that stupid graduation picture of myself when I graduated from the 8th grade with my science 3rd place medal. Why do I still have that photo? I don't look like that anymore. Why do I still have that? Just these. For everyone, it's different. For everyone, it's different. So minimalism is for everyone, but it's different because everybody, to some degree, even billionaires, they don't. I know the stereotype of a billionaire is someone who spends lavishly on all these things that they don't need. But there are even billionaires who, even though they've got the money, they won't spend it on a certain thing. And there are those of us, and again, I'm not judging. There are those of us. We all know people who spend beyond their means, or we know they really like buying things, and we sometimes might think, you know, we won't say anything. We'll just think, this is my friend and I love them, but they just bought this thing that they really don't need, and I know they really like it, but I personally wouldn't buy it.
Yeah. So I
Yeah,
hope,
yeah.
Ma'am Kat Torres, your question is answered by Andres, no? So before we will proceed, I'd like to recognize one of the hosts also of Talk Live channel. Hello, Ate Aida from Manila. Hello, thank you for watching. And I did not see, no, but I believe Doc Arwin Serrano is watching us this evening. Hello, Doc Arwin. Thank you for watching, always supporting students and me. So it's 7:29. Before we will continue, we will have to have pause for a break for our brand partners.
Okay.
I really need an attendance, assistance of our tech this evening. My internet connection is not doing good. So thank you very much. So I hope that Ma'am Kat also uh, got something from Andres sharing tonight. No, so we know we are. I would like to emphasize that, and again, what Andres said, that we are not judging people. We're just trying to share it. What is minimalism and what is no? It is, as what he said, that depende lang po talaga sa atin, no, how we no, so minimalism is for everybody, and depende lang po talaga according to the situation and your, because he even mentioned billionaires who are also minimalistic. Okay, Ate Rose, so your
Okay.
thoughts before we will let Andres be back in our show this evening. So very beautiful noise. Almost
Yeah.
7:31, but we have shared a lot of things already.
Yeah,
Very
yeah.
nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. So
This
maybe we
topic is
can,
really timely.
yeah,
Hmm.
timely. Okay.
Hmm.
So as what Kat had said, Andres, no, hoping to get thinner pa kasi kaya tinatago pa. Kasi
Hmm.
sabi niya, a good topic to start the year and throw my unused clothes. Okay, wow.
Oh,
Thank you.
may
That's
effect
what we,
agad, no?
the
Oh.
effect agad, Andres.
Yeah, you know
Thank
what?
you.
And if I can just say something,
Yeah.
this if you've got a lot of stuff to give away, please consider the people who have been affected by Odette, because
Yeah.
they really need a lot of stuff, and even before Odette, and even before COVID, sadly, there's a lot of poverty in the Philippines, and there are a lot of us who are very lucky, and we have a lot of things that we don't need. And now that Christmas has just finished, and a lot of us probably have all this stuff, this new
Yes.
stuff that we can use, maybe clothing, maybe we can get rid of old stuff, shoes, clothes, whatever. And like I said, to the people of Odette who have been affected by Odette, and even before Odette and before COVID, there's a lot of poverty in the Philippines. So, if you decide to if maybe you will watch this show, and then you'll look around and you'll see, I don't need this, I don't need that. Maybe
Yeah.
you have
Yes.
something useful that you don't need anymore. And
Mm.
and you can you can donate it to a charity. You can give it to the Red Cross. You can maybe your neighbor needs it. There are ways to give. There are ways to give. Not just it's good to donate money too, but it's also good to donate things.
Yeah. Andres, I'm just curious. No, I'm just curious. How did you start practicing minimalism, or uh when did your awareness, no, or consciousness of uh embracing minimalism start?
My well, there are actually two questions there. First is, when did I become a minimalist? And
Yeah.
second, when did I realize that I was a minimalist?
Okay,
And
that's it.
I think last year I realized that I had been a minimalist my whole life, and
Oh.
I did not even realize it
Mm.
because, um, for example, I was telling Coach Loretta before we went live. Um, my wife is a OFW in Poland right now, and after she moved out, I was I was living by myself. So in a way, I was single. So I moved into where I'm living now, which is only which is a room with a shower and a kit. It's I have a shower and a kitchen and a refrigerator. I have everything that I need, but it's
Oh,
only about 15 by 15.
oh,
Yeah, because now, of course, I could afford something bigger, but I'm just one person, and my wife
Yeah.
and I don't have kids yet.
Mhm.
Uh,
yeah.
but uh, but
Pray, love.
we'll see,
Yeah.
but it just on a practical, pragmatic level, it just made sense. I thought, you know what, uh, this is only going to be temporary anyway, because when when world travel has returned to normal and COVID has returned to normal,
Yeah.
and things feel kind of like they felt before COVID, then I'm gonna leave anyway. So there's no need to spend a lot of money on a condo, right? So really, I only realized that moving into this small place and looking at myself and how I live, and looking at YouTube videos online and spending a little bit of time online and talking with friends, I realized uh, I'm a minimalist, and I didn't even know it. I mean,
Ah,
just to uh, just to give an example, this this phone, I haven't turned it on. I turned it off because I don't want to be interrupted. But this is what kind of phone is this? This is a Samsung. Okay, this phone is a Samsung, but it's not very big. To give you to let's see if I can give some perspective. Okay, here's my wristwatch. Here's my wristwatch, and here's my phone. And as you can see, my phone is not very big. Okay, and so the simplicity of my phone, the small space where I live, and all these other things, talking to my friends, spending some time on the internet, I realized last year, you know what? I'm a minimalist, and I started using that term to myself. Now, the other question was, how did it start?
mm.
Now, I don't know if I was born this way or if I became this way or a little bit of both, but I will tell you something significant. Um, I think I mentioned a little bit. Oh yeah, it was mentioned before. Uh, I was actually born in Guatemala, but I moved to California when I was a baby. So just to inform the viewers, if you start with Canada, go south, that's America. And then if you go south, that's Mexico. And if you go south, that's Guatemala. And when I was a baby, we moved to the United States. So English is my first language. I'm a US citizen. I speak some Spanish because I learned it from my parents. Guatemala is a lot like the Philippines. We have, I guess, I'm not sure what the correct phrase is, third world, developing, poor country. There's a lot of crime, there's a lot of violence, there's a lot of corruption, there's a lot of poverty. Anyway, I was a little boy in California, and I don't know how old I was, but I was small enough to play with cars, little toy cars.
Oh.
So I'm playing with my cars,
Mm.
and then my mother told me something.
Mm.
And I don't know what her intention was. Maybe she was just sharing. Moms. Be careful, you moms. You whether
What
well,
you
I
say.
shouldn't say
Be careful what you
I
say.
should, yes. Be careful if you're a mom. Be careful what you say, because the Filipino mom and the Guatemalan mom, they have
The
have
same
a lot in common.
similarity.
Right. Yeah, specifically, you just can't help it. If you're a mom, a Filipino mom or a Guatemalan mom, if you're just being yourself, too bad. Your kid has got the stamp of mama marked forever, the branding in the soul.
Branding.
Right. So anyway, so this is what my mother did. So I'm playing with my little toy car, and my mother said to me, and by the way, my parents, they were never poor. They were never ever poor. But like Guatemala and like the Philippines, you could be the richest person in the world. You cannot escape poverty. You see it.
Mm.
You see it. There are a lot of people living in poverty in this country. Same in Guatemala. Doesn't matter how rich you are. You're going to see somebody living in poverty. You will. Anyway, so I'm a little boy. I'm in California. I'm playing with my toy car. And my mother said to me, she said, in Guatemala, poor children don't have toy cars to play with. They take little bottle caps and they move them around the ground, and they make noises like their cars. And I think something just clicked in me, and something just made me not want to crave material things so much. And again, I'm not judging. I'm not saying I have better character than other people. I'm just saying that when my mother said that to me, I think that's what, if I was not born a minimalist, that event is what started me on my minimalist journey. Or maybe, or like I said, maybe it's a combination of both. I was born a little bit a minimalist. My mom said that to me. Or maybe just that day, bam, my mom turned me into a minimalist forever. And later, actually, in high school, I went to this event with some other students. It was an academic event and social. We did some socializing and we did some learning. And then there was this big photo for everyone involved. Was going to take a big photo because it wasn't just my high school; it was other high schools involved. And I did not purchase a photo. And then my father said to me, "Hey, why didn't you purchase the photo?" And then I don't know what I said. I think if anything, but if I said anything, I probably said something to the effect of, I didn't feel like it or I didn't want to. And then my mother said something else. And this is the other thing, mothers, and children, we resent this about our mothers, but it's true. Moms really, the good moms anyway, they know their kids. Even better than the kids know themselves sometimes.
Yeah.
And my mom said, Andres has always had an austere lifestyle. And
Wow.
I really have ever since I was a kid. So minimalism for me came quite easily and quite naturally. But for some people, but everyone's journey is different. Some people, I'm 40.
Yeah.
I'm 44 years old. Some people who are watching this, maybe they're 50 and they're like, whoa, minimalism, this is amazing, I'm going to try it out. Some people might be
Yeah.
20 right now watching this and they're thinking,
Some
minimalism, this is
people.
amazing, I'm going to try out. Or they might think, this is
Yeah.
nonsense, I could never work, this could never work.
Yeah.
What is this nonsense? But to answer, so the simple answer to your question is I started labeling myself a minimalist last year, 2021. So that was one good thing about 2021. It wasn't all
Yeah,
bad.
many things happen.
But I have been a minimalist almost my whole life.
Yeah, yeah, nice, very nice.
Yeah.
And maybe some 67 years old like me will start to, you know, will start to make decisions, what to
Yeah.
keep, no, what to, what to let go, di ba? Not late, no, it's not late.
Yeah.
Okay, I have
May
one
we
more
have
question.
may we have one
Okay.
question, Ate? It's 7:45. Do we have some
Ah.
Yeah.
Just this one. Kasi,
Yeah.
you know, the media is actually telling us not to be,
Yeah.
to have this, to have that, to have this, and to have that, no?
Commercialist.
Creating needs for us, okay? So, as a minimalist, no, how could you educate or make people aware the value of minimalism with what the social media is bombarding on us?
Kill your Facebook.
True.
Yeah, because in the Facebook, people will show what they have, where they are, what they're eating, and so forth and so on. Okay.
Yes.
Facebook.
And after you've killed your Facebook, kill your Twitter.
Okay.
And when I was a kid in the 80s or the 90s, and maybe it's still there, but there was this bumper sticker in California, and it said, "Kill your television." And it's true, because the media, it's so easy to say what I'm about. I mean, in a way, it's kind of hypocritical. Look, technology can be used for a good thing. We can have this conversation with thanks to technology. Okay, I can email. I can. My wife is in Poland. We can video chat because of technology. But we're not talking about technology. We're talking about we're talking about the media.
Yeah.
And as far back as the Roman Empire, there were Roman philosophers who were saying, we are too greedy, we are too self-centered, we are too materialistic, we keep on wanting this nonsense that we do not need. And again, I'm not judging anybody, okay? I'm not judging you, okay? If you have a better phone than I do, I'm not judging you. You probably do have a better phone than I do, because my phone is so old and bad and cheap that they probably don't sell it in the store anymore. But we really don't need all of this stuff that the media is telling us that we need. Oh, are you female? You need high heels and makeup, and you need to be thin, or you're less than. You know, and if you're a man, you need to make a lot of money, or you're less than. You know, there's there was a movie, I never saw it, but it's called it's an old movie. It's with I'll use two movies, one that's kind of older and one that's kind of new. One is called it's called Shallow Hal. It's with Jason Alexander and Jack Black and Gwyneth Paltrow and Tony Robbins. And Tony Robbins, the self-help guru, and he basically plays himself. And I haven't seen the movie, but he gives Jack Black, Shallow Hal, who judges women by their appearance, the ability to see the inner beauty in people.
Wow.
So so he falls in love and he starts seeing regularly this morbidly obese woman played by Gwyneth Paltrow. When everybody sees her, they see what she really looks like, which is morbidly obese. But when Jack Black sees her, he sees Gwyneth Paltrow because that is her inner beauty. And there's this wonderful scene where Jason Alexander, Shallow Hal's best friend, which is not very a good friend, confronts Tony Robbins, and he says, "What did you do to him?" And then Tony Robbins says, "I gave him the ability to see the inner beauty in people." And then Jason Alexander says, "I knew it. You hypnotized him." And then Tony Robbins says, "No, I dehypnotized him." All of us are hypnotized. TV, radio, magazines, they're telling all of us what is beautiful, what is smart, what is acceptable, including some of the people who you think are not so attractive. And then Jack Black, I'm sorry, this is kind of sexual trigger warning. Jason Alexander says, but doesn't he realize I'm paraphrasing, doesn't he realize what's happening when he's having sex with her? And then Tony Robbins says two great things. The first thing he says is, the mind sees what the heart wants it to see. And the second thing he says is, inner beauty is the easiest thing to find when you look for it. Now, now that's kind of an older movie. So let me, for the younger people out there, there's this other movie called Jack Reacher. There are two Jack Reacher movies. They're both with Tom Cruise, and it's actually based on novels, which I have not read. I've only seen the two movies. I like the two movies. A lot of the fans of the books don't like the movies because Tom Cruise is not a very tall guy, and Jack Reacher in the books is not only a tall guy, but he's a very large, muscular guy. Anyway, Tom Cruise, basically Jack Reacher is a drifter. He only has one jacket, one shirt, one sweater, and he's always drifting place to place. And one day he has this conversation, and I'm totally butchering it, but this is in the first Jack Reacher movie. This attorney asks him something like, "What do you do?" Or "Why do you do what you do?" And he takes her arm, he puts her to the office window, and he says, "What do you see?" And then she doesn't understand. And he says, "I see people who are not free. They are not free from worry. They are not free from debt. They are not free from anxiety." And, I'm not judging and I'm not preaching, but minimalism can help you feel free. I think Coach Loretta, you said, I think after we talked about the car, you said, the less things you have, the less of a headache you have, something like that. Yeah. Hey man, if you become a minimalist, you will be free or freer from some of the headaches you had before.
It's 7:53 in the evening, Andres.
Wow!
And you said yes, no, that you will have our series with us on minimalism. This topic, and I hope that we could invite more friends, Ate. But they can replay, because it's 7:00. Maybe some people are doing some stuff, but they can watch it again, Andres. They can watch it. A very beautiful sharing tonight, Ate Rose.
Yeah.
I realize also while listening to Andres, I too was born minimalistic because I used to have because I have three older sister, Andres, and their uniforms when we were in high school. To pass it on, I will just be using the old uniform of my sisters, not asking my mom to buy me one. So that's the one, no? So and I'm not ashamed of it, and I'm comfortable using their old uniform when I was in high school. So that's it, no? So I realized that you said that it really depends to each every one of us. Not this minimalism is really for everybody, depending upon the situation and depending how we live our life. Okay, Ate
Yeah,
Rose.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, are we now saying our
Yeah, your
parting
parting words,
words?
and we will
Oh,
ask Andres to share his parting words also.
oh,
And
wow.
then
Very
we will
short.
see
Okay,
him.
okay.
We will see him
Mm.
again next Tuesday.
Okay. So, you know, more and more people are learning, how to be minimalist. Maybe not conscious about it, as you mentioned kanina, Andres, no? Maybe because of financial situation, one is forced to be minimalist, not knowing that it is already minimalism, because just to have what is needed. Okay. So, and then I realize also that as you grow older, no, you start to realize things na from collection, you start to, how do you call that one? You start to give away, no?
Yeah.
Things that you do not need anymore. Or maybe as you grow older also, you will realize that you have you have something at home that is not needed anymore, maybe needed in the past but now no more, so why keep it, why make your house a museum, just like that, no? When, yeah, when actually people can use it, no? We do not only give what we do not need, or what is not useful anymore, but even if it is useful and then you don't need it anymore, then it would be much better, no, to give it because others can use it still.
Wow.
Diba? No?
Very well
So,
said.
I remember na, I'm going, I remember in the, how do you call that one? In Luke, chapter 12, it says, keep your eyes open and guard against greed, because even when a person has an abundance, his life does not result from the things he possesses. And I think that is very basic, that as we live our life, no, even the pharaohs before, no, when they die, everything was placed because people were thinking that they could carry that with them, but we were born naked, so we die naked. We came from God with nothing, so we go back to God with nothing. And I
Wow.
think minimalism is a very good practice.
Wow. Very well said, Ate Rose, no?
Okay.
So it's a very point of reflection for our viewers tonight. So Andres, it's 7:57. So may I ask for a little bit of your parting words, but you will be coming back next Tuesday. I hope so. It's your
Yeah,
turn to invite and encourage also some of our viewers. Yes, Andres?
I would just say that since you quoted Luke, and there's a lot of Catholicism on TLC. Before I say that, if you're a viewer and you want to give minimalism a shot, I would say find one thing that you own, but it's still in good enough condition that you
Yeah.
can give it away as a gift. Maybe it's a decoration, and then maybe it's some kind of decoration, and then you have a dear friend or your mom or your kid, and you want and or your sibling, and you want to say, hey, this thing that you've seen in my house. I would like you to have it. I just want you to have it, and don't say, listen. I want to practice minimalism. Can you help me? Take this gift. No. Just take something and and give it as a gift
Mm. Yeah.
to someone. And you don't need occasions to give
Yeah.
gifts. You don't need
Mm.
occasions to give gifts. So first, find someone who or just find something that you have that you can get rid of, that's still in good condition, good enough that you can give it to someone as a gift, and just tell the person, oh, I just felt like giving a gift, and I would like to give you this gift. And the last thing I'll say, now that Ate Rose brought up the Gospel of Luke, I love theater and I love movies, so I'm going to talk again about movies. I'm going to talk about the movie The Passion of the Christ, just one scene. And my favorite scene in that whole movie is a scene that is nowhere in the gospel. And that is the scene where the Lord Jesus Christ is building a table.
Yeah.
So number one, we know he's not a rich man.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, we've read for those of us who have not read the Gospels, if you watch this movie, you will know from that scene, number one, he's not a rich man. He's a working man. He has to work for a living. And then his mother asks him, what are you building? And he says, I'm building a table. And then she says, for who? And he says, a rich man. Just like that. I'm a rich man. I'm building a table for a rich man.
Yeah.
So we do have an exciting sharing this evening, and we hope that next Tuesday we will have because we have still a lot of I've read some of the stuff that are writing materials that Andres sent to us, ate. So there are a lot of facets of minimalism. No, we could always know a lot of things, but when he said before we go live, I invited him that if we could have a series with this, and then thank you, Andres, for saying yes. And then we hope to see you again next Tuesday. So it's 8:01.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so see you on Tuesday. And good night, everyone. And I hope
okay. Good night.
Good night, everyone. See you all on Tuesday. Andres Chang. Okay. Hello, Andres. Welcome back.
Hi. Welcome back.
Evening.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me back again. Thank you very much.
So I believe that you heard some of our sharings. No, I forgot to tell that you made a very concrete example last Tuesday about the owning a car. No, I am really touched with that. No, so have you heard that Ate Mercy said that he did not know that he's really living in some minimalism already. That's it. Okay, can you give us another view of another example of how it is to live a minimalistic life, Andres, before we go to some of the questions that we are going to ask you.
Sure. There's actually minimalism can actually reveal a little bit of sexism in the world. For example, in my case, I'm a man, and I've been losing my hair since I was 16. And then one day I decided, you know what? I'm just so tired of combing my hair every day, and so I just decided, I'm just going to shave my head, let it grow, and then every now and like once a month, just shave it. That's one less thing to worry about. But with women, at least here in the Philippines and in a lot of other places, you can't really do that, and or you can, but it would be difficult. It's much more. It's easier for me to, as a man, to live simply and shave my head than it would be for the three of you to stop wearing makeup, shave your heads. I mean, stop wearing high heels, or even the little teeny tiny heels that you wore for your school uniforms, and maybe you have to for your work uniform, whatever your job is. But a woman said something very interesting some years ago. She has this famous video. I forget her name, but the video, you can probably still find it on YouTube. It's called The Story of Stuff. Excuse me. Anyway, and she said something very interesting. She said, women can wear less makeup. And then she said, or women can choose to be beautiful without makeup.
Wow. So the three of us are not really wearing our makeups. Tama ba ako, Ate Mars?
Yes.
Am I correct?
Yeah.
No,
It's our inner beauty that exudes. Oh.
Yeah. Yes.
The
Yes, Ate
address.
Rose.
Our minimalism is through our hair. Some will cut it short so you can you can save with your shampoo, with your conditioner. Because if you have long hair, di ba, Loretta? Long hair,
No.
more shampoo, more conditioner. But short hair, one sachet will last for 4 uses. Oh, di ba? We also have our own way of minimalizing things.
Yeah, that's why
Uh,
I am contemplating to cut my hair short. Yeah, that's it.
okay.
Okay, so I used to have a short hair, di ba, mga ate? I used to have a
Yes,
short hair. Okay?
yes.
So that's a good, no? One can be beautiful even without a makeup. That's a very good point. Okay. So before we will proceed, I would like to recognize our guest. Thank you, Brother Ryan America, for watching. Magandang evening po. Good evening. Thank you very much. So please continue sharing and liking our episode this evening because this is a beautiful sharing. So can we start our questions for you, Andres? So
of course.
since the three of us, now I will start first, mga ate. So since the three of us
Okay.
really are into a religious education, no? The two ates here are retired theology teachers of Ateneo de Davao University, and I am an active still teaching religious education in the school that I'm teaching now. So are there any biblical what are the examples of minimalism in Catholicism? Have you find it there in the Bible, or can you cite some examples of minimalism? No, is there in Catholicism, Andres?
Yes, absolutely. Well, first of all, there is nothing wrong with engaging the senses. Years ago, I met a man who had converted from Mormonism to Charles Cannon was his name. Years ago, I met a man. His name was Charles Cannon, and he converted from Mormonism to Catholicism. And he pointed something out very interesting, which is the Catholic Church really engages the senses. You know, you see the big crucifix above the altar, and you hear the music, and you smell the incense, and you taste the communion on your mouth, and you touch the holy water. And so it's very, so there's a lot happening. It's very ornate. It's very engaging, but which is doesn't seem very much like doesn't seem very minimalistic. But there is minimalism, of course, in Catholicism. We see priests and nuns who take vows of obedience, chastity, and of course, poverty. So that's one example of minimalism in Catholicism. We may not call it minimalism, but it's good for the soul, and of course the Catholic Church has always taught that poverty, material poverty, can be good for the soul. People sometimes even fast intentionally, and it can be a form of prayer. And full disclosure, actually, I actually, well, I won't talk about that, but I'll just say, yeah. So those are two. Those are two concrete examples of minimalism, if you didn't want to call it that, in Catholicism.
I would affirm with the vow, especially the vow of poverty with the religious sisters and brothers and priests. No, because they do not really own their thing. No, when, for example, a sister who works at a particular Catholic school, the check that he will that she or he will that she will receive is not in her name. No, it is with the congregation's name.
Mm.
No, so that's the one. So
Mm.
even she's the one working, but the salary that she will receive, it will not go to her right away. That would be
Mm.
for the congregation. So I believe
Mm.
that it is for me, no, as I've heard you last Tuesday, Andres, for me that's minimalism, no, going beyond, no, the sister does not own the what you call this one, the salary that she received, no, she gave it to the community. That's the one. Okay,
Um,
that's a good
Mm.
example. Okay, Ate
Mm.
Rose.
I think going back to what Mercy said kanina, that living life simply, no? Living life simply. The word minimalism only came out, no, recently, but actually the practice of simplicity in life, that's already minimalism, no? You only
Oh,
have what you need. You only have what you need, and let go of wants. And that is minimalism. 'Di ba? Mm. Only we are not conscious about it, as Mercy mentioned kanina.
so
Mm.
your thoughts of it, Ate Mars, Andres, wala ka kasi kanina sa internet, to Andres, so
Oo.
gives us an example of uh, the life of poverty, chastity, and obedience of of a congregation, of a brother,
Mm,
a sister, and a
mm,
priest. She cite that example. So
mm.
I'd say this he he
So
he taught it as a minimalistic way of life.
so I think it's just the same with saying that in religious congregation they practice the so-called vow of poverty,
Yeah.
Mm.
when they just live according to
The need.
their needs, and
Mm.
they don't have much. They don't have much to uh, like, for example, material things, because they are embracing a kind of life in the spirit of poverty. Uh,
That's it.
is that correct, Andres?
Well, yeah, like Ate Rose just said, it is very much, even though we have not called it minimalism, it has been
Mm,
practiced,
yeah,
or
yeah.
what's the word I'm looking for? It's uh, temperance, I guess, is what you could call it.
Mm.
Abstinence,
Value. Mm.
abstaining
Mm.
Mm,
things that you do not need.
Mm.
That's been practiced
mm,
Mm.
mm, mm,
for a very long time.
Mm. Mm.
So,
Mm.
I am
Yeah.
just curious. I am just curious, Andres. Why you know all these things? Are you a Catholic, or if I mind asking you, or you just really have an experience of engaging some Catholic people that you met around when you were traveling or when you were here in the Philippines? Because you are so aware with what all these things. I'm just very curious. And
Oh, I was gonna say this, and then I said
uh,
no, I won't say this. But yeah,
I
okay,
don't
now I'll
know.
say it. Now you've brought it out of me. Okay,
Yeah.
so I actually I wanted to be a priest. Uh,
Ooh.
yeah,
Oh.
and uh, well, I'll tell you another story about my mother. You see, when when I was a little boy, I asked my mom. I asked her if I could be an altar boy,
Oh.
and then she said to me, I don't know if you know the term mijo, but in Spanish it's my son. Anyway,
Ah.
and then so I said, Mom, can I be an altar boy? And
Mm.
then she said, and remember, this is in America. Uh, and in America, public school is free. Now, I
Mm.
said to my mother, so, Mama, can I be an altar boy? And she said, no, mijo, your faith is not something that you wear on your sleeve so that others can see you and praise you.
Mm,
It's a personal
mm,
relationship with God. And then
okay.
later, I asked my father, I said, Papa, can I go to Salesian High School, the Salesian High
Mm,
School, right?
Wow.
And then my father being the son of a Chinese businessman, he said to me, "No, mijo, public school is free."
yeah.
Yeah, the
Private schools
practical.
are very expensive, no?
Oh
Private
yes,
school.
oh yes, oh
Right,
yes,
and
oh
then,
yes,
yes,
oh yes, oh
yes.
yes, oh yes.
Mm,
But
Wow, that's
anyway,
what. Yeah, okay. You
yeah.
continue, Andres. Okay.
Oh, so there was a time when I wanted to be a priest, and uh, at the time the Pope was Pope John Paul II, and but I asked him, I told him, look, I want to get married and be a priest, and he wouldn't let me. So instead, I got married, and actually, that's not a true story. But I've never met Pope John Paul II, but it is true that I did want to be a priest at one time.
Wow.
mm,
So, because you're from Guatemala, no? So it's also the Catholic
mm.
faith there is also very strong. So thank you very much for sharing, Andres. So, Ate Rose, we have the second question for Andres.
Okay, okay. It's nice that to know that you are familiar with Catholicism, no? Uh, Going through the Gospels, what are those that you can find there that speaks of minimalism? Gospels of
Um,
Matthew, Luke, Mark, John.
I can cite Matthew 25, but that's not really about minimalism. I'll only say that Matthew 25, whatsoever you do to the least of my brethren, so you do unto me. That's my favorite gospel, but in terms of minimalism, really, I actually wrote it down. Of course, he tells a rich man to give all of his money to the
Mm,
poor. That is in the
mm,
Yeah.
gospel.
mm,
In the gospel, as you pointed out last week,
yeah.
at the rose from
Mm,
Luke, be
yeah,
on your
yeah.
guard from all forms of
Mm,
greed. And
mm,
then there's of course uh, I've got two left. I don't know which I should say first. Okay, but well, there's the one where it's harder it's easier
a
for a camel to
camel
pass through the eye of a needle than it is for a rich
for
man to
a
enter
rich
heaven.
man.
Which means
Yeah,
if you're rich,
yeah.
it's probably impossible for you to get into heaven.
Mm,
Again, I'm not judging
mm,
rich people. My grandfather was a rich man.
mm,
My father's a rich man.
mm,
Yeah.
I'm not judging
mm,
Yeah.
anybody.
mm,
And I live a
mm,
comfortable lifestyle here in the Philippines. And then, of course, you cannot serve both
two
God
masters
and
And
money.
Mammon.
and mammon.
You know,
Mm,
you just
yeah,
can't.
yeah.
You know, and something the theologian. My favorite writer in the my favorite writer. He's an American. His name is Hedges. Chris Hedges. He's actually
Mm,
an
Yeah.
ordained Presbyterian minister.
mm,
He has many hats. He's also a
mm,
university professor and he's a writer. But
mm,
he makes a very interesting observation, which is there's only one time in all four Gospels
mm,
where Jesus does something that maybe you could call it violent, maybe. And what is that? And that's when he's overturning the tables of the money
yeah.
changers in the temple,
Mm,
you know?
mm,
So
mm,
that's where you see him probably if there was a time where he lost his temper the most, it's
mm,
that, and that's probably
mm,
probably very telling, you know. And again,
mm,
look, we all need money, but as we were talking about last week, you know, if if you need something, you need it. If you want something, you want it, and
mm,
but in these wants, which of them maybe can you do without?
mm, mm.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
The basic.
Very good.
You only have the basic.
Yeah.
Yes,
Ah,
yes.
So,
and
so
maybe also, sorry. Maybe also,
I,
Andres, it's it's a way of telling us to not to be attached, no? not to be attached with the material things. That's why it's easier for a camel to pass through a needle than for a rich man to enter heaven. That the attachment there is, I think, the issue. No? So, just like in practicing minimalism, when we are attached to our possessions, when I am attached to my hairbrush, no, I will have that no matter what. No, but if we practice minimalism, any brush will do for as long as it functions.
Yeah, that's it. Because sometimes we have to buy a more expensive hairbrush.
Because of the brand. Because of the
Yeah, because of
brand.
the brand, and we find a lot of, di ba, Divers, we find a lot of things in the department store, especially for us women, Andres, no? We can, yeah, they would also say this is better than this one. Yeah.
Very tempting.
Yeah,
Yes,
very
So
yes,
tempting.
yes.
Very
that's the
tempting.
point, really, no, in minimalism. Rose mentioned about attachment. So I would say in minimalism, we have to detach ourselves from material things that may hamper us to live a simple life. Detachment really is a way of life, a discipline that we have to embrace. Like
Ah,
what Loretta and Rose said, it's even including the thing that we want to buy in the department store. We need not buy expensive things or those with brands for as long as it will answer a need. So that's it. Detachment from
ah, but
material.
the media is the media is
Yes.
very strong, no,
Very
in
powerful
convincing
media.
us, no. This is
Yes.
better. Hello Kitty is better.
Right, right, right. Consider. I mentioned before the person who made that video called "The Story of Stuff." Have you ladies ever wondered why is it that heels are fat one year and they're thin and pointy the next year, and then they're fat next year, and they're thin and pointy the next year, and for everybody, why is there a new iPhone every year?
Yeah, that's it.
Yes.
I'm also
You know,
asking that. Yeah, I'm also
yeah,
asking
yeah.
that.
And you know what? My wife is in Poland, so I can say this, and she's going to see it on the internet. But it's too bad, Wapa. You can't do anything about it. So anyway, she's always nagging me, right? She wants to buy the latest.
iPhone.
Sorry, Wapa. She always wants to buy the latest iPhone, and I'm going to get in so much trouble. My sister-in-law, my in-laws, they're all going to call me tomorrow. They're going to be like, "We saw that video, and you said this." Okay, but anyway, my wife always wants the latest iPhone, and I'm always telling her, "Wapa, look, I'm Chinese, okay? The monthly payment for the iPhone is the entire payment for the Android. Okay, I'm sorry, but you married the wrong guy. Okay, I'm the stinking iPhone. I'm in trouble. I got myself in trouble with her last week. I got myself in trouble with her this weekend. So when we do this interview again, another
trouble.
embarrassing story about divorce. More trouble.
Another
Hi.
encounter.
Say
Another
hi to
encounter.
her.
More trouble,
Another
yeah.
encounter. Yeah, but maybe you make compromises also in Vietnam. Maybe that's a relationship between husband and wife. Before we will proceed, we'd like to greet some people who are watching. Our CEO. Wow, good evening, Coach Leo. He is our president, Andres, Coach Leo Gamal Arancia. Thank you very much. And Kaubala mong katikista. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Ate Nancy, for watching. No, please like and share our episodes. And I do have some people here that I cannot see. It's Sir Manuel Labrador also is watching, and Kuya Cesar Horo Adarlo also is watching. Before we will proceed, Jake, can we have a short break? Welcome back, Andres. So, Ate Mers, can we have the third question for Andres?
Sige. Andres, is your life of being a minimalist taking away the fun in life, or or is it making you live a hard life with your minimalism?
Not at all. Actually, I pointed this out in last week, uh, and I'll get a little more personal, because the last week I was more general with the car example, and this question is more personal. So
Mm.
uh, in 2014, in 2013. Uh, I had everything, so to speak. I was
Mm.
living in California. Wow, I'm living in California, and I
Mm.
had a car. Wow, I owned a car, and I was living in a nice place. Wow, I'm living in a nice place, very very comfortable. And then, but I was not happy. And then
Mm.
I decided that I'm going to move to Taipei, because I had actually, many years before, I had visited Taipei, and I had been there several times. And I decided, you know what, I'm always happy there. I'm gonna go there. So I moved out. I sold my car at a loss, um, and I was living in Taipei, and I was just so happy there. I was living in a
Mm.
much smaller place, um, kind of like maybe a little bigger than the place I have now. Just to give you an idea, I didn't measure it, but the where I live now is about
Mm.
15 by 15 feet, and
Mm.
where I was living in Taipei, the room was about around the same size, maybe bigger, maybe 20 by 20, something like that.
Mm.
Um, and and Taipei, of the 4 years I lived there, it became my favorite city in the world. I've been to Singapore, I've been to Tokyo.
Mm.
Of course, I lived in California, and you really cannot compare Taipei with Davao. It's not a fair comparison, because Taiwan is a rich country compared to the
Mm.
Philippines.
Yeah.
But I didn't have a car. The place I was living in was nowhere near as big as the place I
Mm.
was living in California, and I didn't even need a car, because there were so many transportation options. There's a clean metro. There's which you don't even have to plan your trips in Taipei, because the
Mm.
metro like comes every less than 5 minutes, so you don't even have to plan your
Mm.
trip.
Mm.
You just go there, you wait, your train will get there, don't worry, it'll get there, you get to where you're going, you get the bus, you've got the metro, you've got the taxis, there's a bike sharing program, food that the, the street food will not make you sick.
Mm.
The foreigners can, and any foreigner. I mean, it makes some foreigners sick, but again, the vast majority of foreigners, you will not get sick eating the street food. So
Mm.
I had less, and I was so much happier. And
Mm.
again, I don't want to judge people. I don't want to, like I said
Yeah.
last week, I don't want to say
Mm.
my minimalism is a virtue that you
Mm.
lack. No, 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 no. I'm just saying
Mm.
Mm.
minimalism for me, and I think for everybody, and it's different for everybody, how the
Mm.
minimalism that you practice, and we talked about that last week also. It will not it will make you happier, and it will put more
Mm.
fun into
Mm.
your life.
Mm.
When you
Mm.
have less things, I mentioned the car before. Let's talk about clothes. If you have a lot of clothes,
Yeah.
consider, that's nice, but that's more laundry you have to do. You
Mm.
know, if you right, if you have if you have a lot of things, that's more things that you need to take care of that take away from your time. And the thing is, what happens if you buy something that's brand new and it's beautiful and it's expensive and that makes you happy for a little while, but then you have to keep cleaning it and maintaining it and keeping it up in good condition? That's, for me, that takes away my fun. And that takes away from time that I can spend reading a book, hanging out with my friends. And if I don't take care of it, well, then sometime later I say, wow, look at this dirty old thing. And then I remember, oh, I spent so much money on that. And I'm not going to get the money back. And, so I would say being a minimalist is the opposite. It will make you happier. And again, it depends for everybody what the minimalism is. How are you going to practice your minimalism? What makes you happy? What makes you happier? Glasses or contacts? What makes you happier? The cord headphones or the cordless? It really depends. Because both wearing glasses, that can be an example of minimalism. Not wearing glasses and wearing contacts instead, that can be an example of minimalism. The contact lenses might not be an example of minimalism. The wired headphones might not be an example of minimalism. The wireless, because they're more expensive, might not be an example of minimalism. But I encourage everyone to practice minimalism. Minimalism is for everyone. It is different for everyone. Find out what works for you, and it will make you happy. Getting back to the priests and the nuns, being a minimalist doesn't mean you become a priest or a nun and you take the vows of poverty. No, it means finding what do you need, because and I don't know who said this, and maybe did we say this last week, but the things that you own, they end up owning you.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Especially,
So the simple answer. Sorry, but the simple answer is minimalism makes life more fun.
Yes.
It's more fun. It's more fun in the Philippines, and it's even funner with minimalism.
Wow. Ate, we will recognize first our mga kaigsoonang katikista who are watching. Wow. So I hope that they could share also this to their students. No, Ate Esther, Lina Sungahay Valera, thank you for watching, Ate Esther. And we have Josh, no? Josh Abelio Desierto. Thank you for watching. Grabe ang suporta ng ating mga kapatid na katikista sa ating tonight. Magandang gabi. So no, it's really, I'm just reflecting while listening to Andres, mga ate na, especially if you have a lot of expensive stuff, no, like for example, what we call this, yung mga, especially for us, wives, no, now we all have a lot of different brand of place like that, cooking wares, no, it's very, that's the one that I'm really doing away, because if it will be broken with my child or my then I will get mad really, because why, this is very expensive.
Your heart will also be broken.
What is the brand of that very expensive cookwares, Ate Mercy?
Vision.
Yeah, Vision.
Vision.
Very expensive.
Vision.
Very expensive. I was tempted to buy such kind of cookware, but I was reflecting. No, I can still cook anyway without the Vision in my kitchen. That's the one, no? Because
Guilty.
yeah, I have a friend who's really encouraging me to buy one, but I said no, I would not buy one. So that's just I'm just no, you can, yeah, I'm just reflecting what you have shared, Andres, that it hinders really some movements, no, if there are things very very valuable in our place, in our home, that sometimes we have to take care of it, and we just keep it in our cabinets and we'll just use it. That's usually our honestly, and this is just my experience, my thought, no, na our Filipino culture sometimes you should just be bring it out when there is fiesta, when there is big celebration, and after that we
Mm.
will keep it.
Lord.
Yes, Ate
Lord.
Rose. Yes.
I have liberated myself from that. No, yung to keep the
Wow.
best things only for the visitors. We'll use
Yeah.
the best
Yes,
things,
that's
no?
true.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
true.
oh.
Mm.
Because you know, uh, we have to enjoy. No,
Yeah,
for example, I
Yes.
said guilty kanina with the vision because I use vision cookwares, no?
okay.
Because uh, running away from cancer and etc. etc.
Yeah.
But it's a very good cookware. Until now, I am still using it. That's already more than 25 years.
And that's
25 years,
good.
but it is still functioning.
That's still
Later on,
that's still
later on, you will be
minimalism.
used to carrying it, so it will not fall down, no?
Yeah.
And I have a joke on that kasi when my children were still small, I hid it in the cabinet, no, and then my son discovered it, and then he said, "Oh, there is a cookware in the cabinet," and then I told him, "Do not touch that one. Ano to? I even if you will stumble for as long as you will not break the cookware."
The
Ah.
cookware.
But later on,
Yeah.
they're used to it now. They were used to it already. Oh. But
It's
that was just
it's good ate that
like
you're using it still minimalism because you're using it for 25 years already.
yes.
Okay.
It's very durable, very durable.
Yes, Ate Mercy, your
Mm.
thoughts on with what
For
you
me
share.
also, I have what we call an issue on the use of, for example, towels at home, and
Yeah.
my children would tell me, "Mama, why is it that the best towels are for the visitors, while we are using the worn out towels?" And now that it's pandemic, so
Oh,
I throw away the worn out towels, and then we are using the very beautiful towels
Wow.
that we have.
That's good.
yeah. Finally, thank you,
Finally, no?
Manalili.
Finally.
Yeah,
And then,
finally.
Lord,
Okay.
I would like to pick up what Andres said about
Yes.
happiness. Happiness.
Yes.
So,
Mm.
in minimalism, we have to find our ways how to be happy with the
Yeah,
less things that we have in our life. And then
Yeah.
I
yeah,
remember one
true.
friend. He told me last December. He said, "We have to find happiness which is long lasting, not just
Mm,
any kind of happiness, but
mm,
it's a long lasting happiness."
Yeah.
So I think
yeah,
that's what Andres meant when he said happiness,
yeah,
that long
mm,
lasting happiness.
yeah. Ah, ah, in continuation with that, Mers, no. Andres, how about your hobbies? As you practice minimalism, did you get rid of your hobbies? Hobbies.
You know, yeah, it depends again for everyone. I used to long time ago. I used to play tennis, and I don't play tennis
Mm,
anymore uh,
mm,
because in part because it's you need a ball and you need a racket.
mm.
You know, if you want to get exercise or have fun or play games with friends, just get one ball and play football or
Yeah,
soccer.
yeah.
Wow.
And if and if you
Imagine.
and if you want to exercise, you don't even have to go out for a run. You can just stay home and uh, and exercise at home. Just get on YouTube, find the exercise videos, and do whatever you like. But the shorter answer is you don't have to get rid of your hobbies.
Mm,
Um,
mm,
Again, it really is different for everyone. You know, do you does it make you happy? Is it is it taking away for something else from something else, like some some couples as they get older, you know, they may stop communicating, and so then a hobby can become an escape. You know, I'm taking up this hobby because I'm so uncomfortable with my spouse now.
Mm.
So, but the short answer is no. You don't have to give up your hobbies. The longer answer is, why are you doing this hobby? Do you really enjoy it? Do you really enjoy it? Does it make you happy? Do you want to share it with others? Yeah. So does it make you? Why do you do it? Does it make you happy? Do you want to share it with others? And do you need it? What happens if you stop it? You know, are you using the hobby to cope with something? Is that a coping mechanism? You know, so are you? This is not the same thing, and not to scandalize anyone, but oh, I just joined this Bible study, or I just joined this prayer group. Okay, are you doing that or here's a better example. Are you throwing yourself into your career? Are you throwing yourself into your hobby to avoid something or to escape something? So the simple answer is no, you don't have to give up your hobbies. But the more complicated answer is to ask yourself these questions I just asked. Why am I doing this? Am I happy doing this? Do you want to share this with other people?
Yeah.
What does it give me? These are good questions to ask.
We have a question here, Andres, from An Ali. Good evening, An Ali. Choosing few friends only, do you consider that as minimalism?
I think it was Aristotle who said that he who has many friends has no friends. And I mentioned earlier my favorite writer, Chris Hedges, and maybe he got this from someone else too. If we're all honest with ourselves, we really only have a few friends and even a few family members, and maybe there are some friends who are we're closer to than our family members, who we can share our most private feelings with. So your friendships, I think, are not about minimalism so much. I tend to look at minimalism in terms of material things that you own. But when you embrace minimalism, and this sounds very cliche, but it's true. For some people, when some people embrace minimalism and they declutter, not only do they declutter their space, they declutter their mind, they become more focused. And some people realize, you know what, I got all these friends or all these people who I call my friends, but are they really my friends? And are these relationships really healthy for me? I know this one guy, because I'm a business consultant, and I know this business consultant who had an unhealthy relationship with his friends, because it turned out that at the beginning he was just helping out his friends a little bit with their business, and then he realized, you know what, these really aren't my friends, because I'm intentionally or otherwise, it ended up that he started working for them for free. So it really it's you could say that minimalism is about having not necessarily fewer friends, but quality over quantity in friends.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be the right.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. And
So the,
sadly, sometimes this happens in families also. Sometimes family members, they intentionally or otherwise, they can hurt you, and or you can hurt them, and so sometimes you have to separate yourself from other people, including or distance yourself. Let me just say distance. Just put some distance, put some boundaries between family or friends to protect yourself. And also, it's good to consider, how am I treating other people? You know, am I being fair to them? Am I being good to them? Am I being right with them?
yes.
Uh,
So,
I have a very quick question, Lord.
oh, sure, ate,
Just,
no problem.
just very quick, because we have students also, no, as our viewers. So, how does your desk and your bed look like as a minimalist? Can you still remember it when you
You
were still
mean
a
you mean right
student?
now? Oh, when I
No,
was
no,
still
no.
a
When you were
student.
still a
We were
student,
still
because we have
students.
our student viewers, no. So,
Yeah.
how would you describe your bed and your desk when you were still a student?
Uh, very
What can we see? What
messy.
can we see? Huh?
Yeah.
Very
Very
messy.
messy.
Very messy,
Okay.
very messy, very messy. I make my bed every morning.
Ah,
Wow.
That's I get up and I make my bed every morning. That's just a habit that I picked up. But my desk is you know, it again. It depends. I look at my desk now. Like right now, I'm looking at my desk um, as I speak, and to me, it's very messy and it's very cluttered. But at the same time, I know where everything is,
Oh,
and
okay, yeah.
I think some people would look at this desk and they would say. Oh wow, that's very organized. And I think other people would look at that desk and say, "This person does. This person is such a mess." And I have this end table next to my bed, which is which is quite the opposite of my desk. It's very everything is very in its place. So it really does depend with everybody because, like I said before, whatever your minimalism is, it's yours, and
yeah.
so your style and your personality and
Yeah.
uh, who you are will of course influence what your bed looks like, what your desk looks like, what your end table looks like, what your workspace looks like. Uh, so uh,
Ah,
it really is different for everybody. So I would, you know what? If anybody wants to come over to my place right now, look at my desk, tell me what you think. Is it messy or not?
ah,
This is,
it may look messy, but everything that you need is there.
yeah.
It is. It is.
Ah,
Everything I need is here. Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
It's 7:58 in the evening.
Oh, wow, wow.
I've said
How
that we will
fast?
Andres would be with us this month. No, we have because he has a lot of
Oh,
things. Yeah, he has a lot of things to share with us.
yeah,
Minimalism at
yeah.
work, minimalism
Okay.
and everywhere. No, di ba?
Nice.
So
Mm.
because this is a very informative and very engaged, very beautiful sharing, especially for our students. No, for those of you who
Yeah.
are teachers watching this evening, you can share this one with your students. So the last point that I'm going to ask you, Andres, is you've shared last Tuesday about your mother. You know, that you said that maybe you started with that. How is your relationship now with your mother about this when you embrace really this? How does she look at you now? I mean, you embrace this minimalism advocacy in your life. How how does he see it?
Well, I'm actually sad to say, and not to scandalize anyone, but my mother and I are estranged,
Hmm.
Mm.
and I won't burden you or the viewers with
Yeah.
the details, but I'll just say She is not a minimalist, or a very different kind of minimalist than I am. And some of it also is a little bit cultural, because
Yeah,
remember,
Mm.
I
that's
was a
true.
baby when we moved to California, and Guatemalan moms are like Filipina moms, meaning they
Mm.
are always mom. And it doesn't matter to my mom, and it doesn't matter to my mama that I'm 44 years old, I'm married, I live on the other side of the planet. She's always my mom. And as an American, I
Yeah.
can't handle that. I told my wife, I said, okay, look, Papa, fine. If you want to be that way, if you want to be a Filipina mom, and you want to be up all in our kids' lives, fine. But I'm telling you right now, you know, when my son's 13, it's like I'm personally hands off. I lead by example, and some of it has to do with gender also, and also some
Mm.
of it before, not now. Beginning in beginning in 2000, definitely by 2010, this trend had changed. But definitely between 1980 and 2000, and remember, I turned 18 in 1995. So this was my mindset, and this was the dominant American mindset, especially among white Americans, and especially among Americans who did not come from immigrant backgrounds. When you're 18 years old, you're running out of the house screaming, and you're moving out to college. At the same time, your parents are kicking you out of the house and cheering you on. Yes, get out of here, go. You know, so the cultures are different. The cultures are different. The cultures
Yeah,
are different.
yeah.
Yeah. You know, even I'm getting my in-laws in trouble again, but I don't care. You know, I have a niece, and she's just moved out to go to university, and so she's conflicting with her grandmother who was taking care of her. You know, there's that a little bit of that
Yeah.
independence is creeping into Filipino culture, into the Philippines also. A little bit of that. I'm not married, but I'm gonna move out. What? You're not married, but you're moving out? You know, a little
Mm.
bit, a little bit, a little bit. It's a little bit getting there. A little bit.
True.
Kids are more. They're emphasizing a little bit more their careers. They're getting married a little later. They're having children a little later. This is happening. This has already happened in some other countries. Uh, Way out to one extreme, perhaps we can say, or to one extent, and it's happening a little bit now in the Philippines. Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Little bit. It's happening.
Yeah.
Slowly
Yeah.
happening.
Yes. Yes.
True.
Okay, it's 8:03. So maybe we could
Wow.
ask you parting words, Ate Rose and Ate Mercy. And before you will say your parting words, I would like to say hi to Coach Schultz Capacetti. I hope that you're uh, get getting well now, Coach Chu. So thank you for watching. Ate Mers?
Okay, so I'm so happy having met Andres here in TLC. I admire him for being such a minimalist by heart,
Thank
an
you.
American as such. So I hope
Oh, thank you. Salamat.
to still engage you next time so that I will be learning more, and people will also be learning from you, especially our young people at this time. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Of course, you will
Oh,
be
thank
with
you.
us
Thank
next
you.
Tuesday, Ate Mercy. Ate Rose?
Okay. Thank you very much, Andres, for your availability. Without you knowing it, many are learning from your experience, and thank you very much for that.
Oh, thank you.
So,
Thank you.
yeah. So hopefully, we will have more meetings. Now we will have more sharings, so that there are so many things to learn from each other. Okay. So to our viewers, see you again on Tuesday next week. No, so January is a month of minimalism. A very good
Yeah,
introduction for 2022. Sige,
that's
Lord.
it. it's really a new year for all of us here in students and me, for the teachers and for the students. No, it's because we've always been talking on New Year's resolutions, and maybe this is one of that. Maybe this is really one of our resolutions to do with Andres being with us until the next Tuesday. Okay? So thank you very much and good evening. Maayong gabi. Magandang gabi po sa ating lahat. Hope to see you all next Tuesday. This is
Andres.
Students and Me. And then we would like to ask Andres for his parting words.
Okay.
Just for tonight, and I will see you. We will see you all. I will see you still on Tuesday.
Well, I'm really looking forward to next Tuesday. Thank you for having me last week. Thank you for having me this week. And for those of you who did not tune in, who didn't watch last week's show, please watch last week's show and start your minimalism. You can start your minimalism journey right now by thinking about looking at everything that you have and choosing one item that's good enough, in good enough condition that you can give as a gift, and just give it to someone, a family member, a friend, anyone. Don't say, hey, I'm practicing minimalism, can you help me? No, just find something that you own that you don't need, but it's in good enough condition that you can give it to someone, and give it to someone. And for those of you who are watching again and you heard me say that last time, and you still haven't done it, take your time. That can be take the whole year. This could be your New Year's resolution. But by December 1st of 2022, I will have given away one thing that I own.
Wow.
That is still in good enough condition that I can give it to someone, and it can be anything.
Thank you very much, Andres. So we will be
Thank
looking
you,
for
thank
that
you.
beautiful thing. So thank you very much. So magandang gabi and thank you very much. Again, see you all next Tuesday. In our program, Students and Me, Usapang Buhay. Guro at estudyante sa loob at labas ng paaralan. And this is a beautiful sharing for all of us this evening. Maayong gabi and good night, everyone, and see you all and have a blessed evening, everyone. Mr. Andres Chang. Hi, good evening, Andres. Welcome back.
Good evening.
Students.
Hello. Hello, good evening. Hello, everyone.
So, I would like to greet first our viewers. We have Coach Aida Manasan and Coach Hans Digno Santo, no, the one that I played earlier. He has just a new, it's not really a new program, but he named it new. Okay, so thank you very much. So Andres, it's really part 3 and we learned so much from you. I would like to inform everybody that even we don't have a lot of live viewers, maybe because it's 7 o'clock in the evening, but at this point of time, I watched our page. There were around 200 plus people were reached, and from talaga namang marami ang many people. That's 200 is 200. Diba, Andres, no? It's still, no? And then when they share it to others, and
it's
so
growing.
It's growing, no? We have to thank God for that. Okay? So let us start the ball rolling, no? We've learned so many things about really minimalism from you, Andres. No? It's really something that we look forward this evening. I believe that you were really sharing last time about your mother, about your family. And can you tell us about the 2 grandfathers? Are they into minimalism also? Your 2 grandfathers? Would you mind sharing with us?
Actually, my 4 grandparents, they are no longer around. And my my 2 grandfathers were very different men. They were very different. Yes. My father's father was immigrant from China, and he went to Guatemala. He married a Guatemalan woman. They had 9 children. My father is number 8. And my grandfather, he started a small business, which became a big business. And when he died, he was a wealthy man. He was a rich man.
Wow.
And now my mother's father, quite the opposite. His father, my great grandfather, was an immigrant to Guatemala from Italy, and so immigration is just in my blood. I mean, it's my DNA. Yeah, and now I live here in the Philippines. Anyway, so he married a Guatemalan woman, and they had a son who was my grandfather. And my grandfather and his wife had 5 children. The first was my mother, and his name was Andres, and so my mother named me after him, and which is funny because as it's very interesting. She again unintentionally or coincidentally had so much influence in my life. She named me after her father. If you look at the pictures, I look like him.
Oh.
And he was a very he never owned a house. He never owned a car, and he was a very quiet man. He was you could say he was a minimalist in some ways, even though he never even used that term. But he was very well read. He was very intelligent. He actually spent some time in the United States. He had some people would define success in terms of money, and in that regard, my father's father was successful. In another regard, in perhaps we can say public service, my other grandfather was Don Andres. We say that in Spanish, Don. We use the word Don. I have a friend. My wife's name is Arlene, and I have another Filipina friend. Her name is Arlene. So to differentiate, I call the friend Doña Arlene. Anyway, but my mother's father, he was sent by the Guatemalan government as part of a team of economists to go to the United States, study income taxes, and implement in an income tax system in Guatemala. So my other grandfather was very knowledgeable, very quiet. He was not a careerist. He really did not care for. He was very clean. He had very good manners. He was. Like we say it in Spanish also, we say muy educado, which means very good, very well educated, or like similar to here in the Philippines, when you say educación, that doesn't necessarily mean you went to university. You didn't went to university. It means you have good manners also. My grandfather, very much so. His personality was very different from mine. I have a very loud personality. He was very quiet. He was verbally, he was a minimalist. He really did not speak unnecessarily. He was known for that. He was known for being a quiet man, not speaking a lot. One thing that both cultures have in common, Guatemala and Pinas, and we even have the same word, which is chismes. Maybe I don't know. Maybe one day we can have the Guatemalan chismes team against the Filipino chismes team, and you can see who are the better chismosos, right? Which country does it better, right? Anyway, but my grandfather Don Andres, he was not into that at all. at all. When the story is, one story I heard is that we have a lot of in Guatemala, like the Philippines. We have a lot of white people. We have a lot of mestizos. We have but the majority
Yeah.
of us are indigenas, and in Guatemala, a lot of indigenas, the majority live in poverty. And my grandfather, Don Andres, would not hide that poverty from my mother. He would take her to the window and he would make her see that
Wow.
there are people living in poverty. And I mentioned, I think last week or the week before, that you cannot escape poverty in Guatemala or in the Philippines or in poor countries, even if you're wealthy. And just another, just one quick story. My uncle, my father's brother, one time my cousin, the youngest daughter of my uncle, she said to him, he said, "Hey, it's dinner time. Come on, come here and sit down." And then my cousin said, "Oh, Daddy, I want to go to Burger King or McDonald's. I forget which one. This was in the 90s, I think." And then my uncle, who was the son of a rich man and grew up very comfortably, like all of my grandfather's, like all of my father's siblings, like all of his 8 siblings. And my uncle, I'll never forget this. He said to my cousin, he said, "Listen," to his daughter, he said, "Listen, there are many poor people who all they have to eat every day is rice and beans." And they thank God every day for that. They don't have McDonald's, they don't have Burger King, nothing like that. And but getting back to my grandparents, my father's father was a wealthy man, a wealthy Chinese businessman, like many of the wealthy Chinese here in the Philippines. He was not a minimalist. He really and again, I do not intend to judge anyone, but
Yeah.
my grandfather, like a lot of wealthy men, it was never enough. For my father's father, it was never enough, and for my father, who is also a wealthy man, it's the same thing. It's not enough. We have so many opposites in our
Wow.
lives, and it's so funny how we turn out. My grandfather Don Andres was a quiet man. His wife was a loud woman, a chismosa, and her name was Josefa. And her nickname, maybe you have this here in the Philippines too, a nickname for Josefa is Pepa. And so she named my mother Pepina, which that wasn't a nickname, that was her name, which means little Peppa. And it's so funny that she did that, because not only does my mother look like her mother and have a similar name, but also have a similar personality, very loud. And I am loud like my mother, but not like my grandfather, her father, who I look like. And my father is a wealthy man who is a careerist. He wants the money, he wants the status. And one of the reasons he and I don't get along is because I don't want the money and I don't want the status. Again, I'm not judging people. There's nothing wrong with being rich. My father's a rich man. His father was a rich man. I myself would like to be a rich man also, but not but I'm a minimalist. So then why do I want to be rich? I just want to be rich so I don't have to worry about money. So I don't have to stress about work. Actually, today, over the weekend, you may have heard, but there's a very famous Buddhist monk His name was Thich Nhat Hanh. And talk about. We were talking last week about how Catholic priests and Catholic nuns, how their vow of poverty can be a form of minimalism. This monk, Thich Nhat Hanh, he recently passed away. He was 90 something years old. He was a Buddhist monk. What you could say is that he certainly practiced minimalism. He was not wealthy. He spent a lot of time with rich and famous people and political leaders, but he personally did not have a lot of wealth. We remember Mother Teresa. She spent a lot of time with rich and famous people and powerful people, American presidents, the most powerful men in the world. She spent time with more. She met personally more than one, but she herself personally was not wealthy, and her vocation was to the poor. So the short answer. So that was really the very long answer, but the short answer is my two grandfathers were very different. Yes. My father's father, Don Jose, was not a minimalist by any measure. He was a rich man, and he liked to have money. He enjoyed spending money. He enjoyed traveling. When my parents were my parents, they were a young, beautiful, fabulous couple back in the 60s and 70s. I mean, my mom went like I said, I don't get along with my mother, so I hope she hears this, and I hope she feels sorry. But she would go to imagine this, just a Guatemalan woman going to Miami every year just to go shopping. Maybe it was Christmas shopping, but they had it. My father's family and my mother, not my mother's family, but my mother after marrying my father and becoming part of that family. Oh, they looked like gangsters. I mean, they had the flash, they had the bling. Oh, they had it all. But Don Andres just was not into that. He just wasn't into that. That did not appeal to him. That did not motivate him at all. He was very much an intellectual. He was and he was not a proud man. And he did not say he did not say, look, he seldom spoke at all, but he certainly did not give the impression of, I'm proud, I'm arrogant, and that's why I don't need to speak. No. He really was a quiet man. He very bohemian. My grandmother, same thing. We all one thing my mother and her mother and her father, the three of us, and my mother's brothers, one thing we all have in common is we're all attracted, maybe not to minimalism, but certainly to bohemianism. What I mean by that is art, literature, those kinds of things. So it's funny how things turn out. And to use a different example, my wife, she's a OFW in Poland, and she told me. I'm getting in trouble. I don't care. I'm like, Wapa, come home. And then she tells me, okay, you give me 50,000 pesos allowance every month. And the thing that she doesn't, which I probably could. I'd probably be very angry about it. But she and I are different too. But I like to go out and have fun. She likes to stay home and watch her Korean drama. And but she's a OFW in Poland because she doesn't need the money, but she wants to travel and she likes being an OFW. And her sister, her sister is here in Davao. What does her sister do? Her sister is a doctor.
Oh,
So I mean, it's just really, it's really funny where our lives. This is sadly
yeah,
the last show we're doing, so I guess it's kind of appropriate for me to talk about this, but it's
yeah,
just so we just never know where our lives are going to
yeah.
turn out. I mean, when I was a young boy, and I was baptized in Guatemala, but I received my first communion and my confirmation in California, and there were a lot of Filipino Americans at my parish and in my neighborhood and my school, and funny enough, and I guess because of my appearance and because they saw me at church on Sundays, and my mom spent time with their moms. Sometimes my Filipino friends would ask me, "Oh, Andres, are you Filipino? No. Are you half Filipino? No. Is your mom Filipino? No. Is your dad Filipino? No." And this was in the '90s when I'm in high school, and fast forward 30 years later, I'm living here in the Philippines. My wife is a Filipina. I never ever
Imagine.
would have, never. I couldn't even tell you where the Philippines was on a map if I,
Mm.
yeah, back in the '90s. But
Yeah.
it's just funny. And now and now I'm a minimalist, and I'm talking to both of you about minimalism, and it's just how our lives, the different avenues they take, and the different things that happen beyond our control.
Correct.
I didn't, it was beyond my control that my father one day decided, let's move to California. I was just a little baby. I had no control over that. Some of us might feel out of control now because of
Correct.
COVID. And there are things beyond our control, and it's just funny how life takes you places that you do not expect.
Yeah.
I thought by this age, I would be living in California. I'd own a house. I'd have 10 children. They'd all be in Catholic school.
Yeah.
But it's my life didn't turn out that way. And I'm not judging. I'm not saying one kind is better than the other. I'm just saying that uh, there are things beyond our control
Yeah.
that are significant and important, and have significant consequences, real consequences in our lives. I didn't know I had no control that one of my grandfathers was a Chinese rich man, and my other
Yeah.
grandfather was a
That's it.
Guatemalan. He was never poor, but he just did not want money.
Yeah. Imagine. So there are
Yeah.
two opposites, your two grandfathers, no? But
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
able, but you live that kind of life, Andres, that you are able, and no, as what you have
Mm.
said, no, we don't have really the control of what is happening even in our family. But at the end of the
Mm.
day, you have the choice. No, you made a choice that you come over to the Philippines and you want to be a minimalist, even with a, I believe, no, I do not know, correct me if I'm wrong, that you really were born with silver spoon in your mouth, no? As you have shared for the past 2 Tuesdays, that you have really that, but you chose to be here and to be a minimalist. That's really our choice of life, the way we live our life. No, because our ancestors, well, we don't have any control with them. You have a rich grandfather, and you have another grandfather who's very intellectual, but no, never wants money. You see, and then I believe that these are two personalities of your grandfathers that you really see into it, no? And then you made a choice. What life would you like to be, no, at this age of yours? Okay, so
Mm.
Ate Mercy said, yes, my net connection is really very, very poor. I will listen heartily na lang to all of you. Lorette, Rose, and thank you, Ate Mercy. No, talagang, her internet connection And we do have, thank you, Ma'am Royolena Basque, for watching and for sending us a 50 stars. No, please support the Talk Live channel by sending us your stars. And I do not know also why I did not see all these people watching us. Thank you, Amilita. Thank you, Ami Ong, one of the catechists, also Ate Rose. And we have
Yeah.
Usmanya Katabay.
Mm.
And we have Kuya Cesar. And good evening, Coach Eva Morsiquillo. I miss you, Coach. No? So they are watching us this evening. Okay, before we will have our break, Ate, do we have another point for Andres to share with us, Ate Rose?
This is chismis. Chismis. Andres, where did you meet your wife? How did you meet? Yeah, chismis. Sige.
Well, I was in the Philippines, and I woke up one morning, and then I leaped from my tree, and I grabbed onto a vine, and I swung to another tree, and then I climbed down to the beach, and I saw this beautiful naked morena climb out of the water, and
Oh.
she had a spear in her right hand, and on the tip of the spear was a fish that was flapping. And so I was still close to my tree, so I grabbed a branch, and in the traditional Filipino way, I yelled out my war cry, which is the same as my mating cry, and I ran towards her with my stick held high. And remember, she had the spear in her right hand, and all she did was turn the spear this way. So the flat end is in front,
you.
and the sharp fish end is in back. And my forehead hit the spear. And then I fell down, and then she
And?
grabbed me, threw me over her shoulder,
Ah.
and took me back to her tree.
Ah.
And then the next day, my family had to give her family 4 water buffaloes, 3 chickens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree, and that's how we met. In the traditional Filipino way. Okay, just kidding. No, the true story is even better, which is we met on the internet. I'm gonna get in so much trouble, but I don't care. I'm gonna yeah. The real story is we met on the internet, and then so we decided to meet, and I saw her. She was very beautiful, and I said to her, I said, listen, you're really beautiful, but I don't have a car, and I don't have a house, and I don't have a lot of money. And well, by American standards, I didn't have a lot of money. And then she said to me, let's get married and have babies.
Oh.
So,
Just like that.
Pretty much. We met in Taiwan. Our courtship was very brief. At this age, at this age is I think courtships can be very quick. We were both
Matured.
40.
Matured.
We both knew what we wanted. So after a very brief, after being boyfriend and girlfriend for less than a very short amount of time, I'm gonna get in trouble for not knowing the specific dates and details, but we got
That's
we got
very
married.
important for a woman.
Yes, I know. But we got married. Quickly, and I'll tell you another funny story about that. We have and she's from Bohol,
Oh,
yeah.
so they are. So shout out to everybody.
The
in Calate.
Boholano.
Hi,
Calate.
Mama. Esther Albit. If anybody knows Esther Albit in Calate,
Ah.
it's about half an hour scooter from the
Ah.
only McDo in Bohol, and then it's on just like when you give directions to the trikes and the delivery services. You tell them, oh, you go down that road, and then when you see that guy, you turn left, and then you pass the big cow, and then if you hit the one school, the only school, you're too far. You have to go back to the one rice farm. Oh, okay, yeah, I know where that is. Yeah. So we were talking, and we were engaged at this point, and we were of course talking about going to the Philippines, getting married, and in Spanish we also have the word beso.
Beso.
And in every country, we could do another show on this too. Every country has their different thing with besos. For example, in Guatemala, every time a man meets a woman for the first time, you give beso. Okay, if you don't, that's rude. So meet them for the first time. When a man meets another man, no beso. But when a woman meets a woman for the first time, beso. Otherwise, that's rude.
Kiss on the cheek.
Yes, just one. And many countries. Anyway, so I said to Arlene, and everybody will know this because because I live in the Philippines too. We all have families who are in the provinces. So I says to Arlene, I said, I want to give besos to Mama. And then Arlene, she frowned and she said, Papa will punch you.
What?
Papa will punch you.
Ah, okay. Oh. So no beso.
Right. It's different in the Philippines. It's different in the Philippines. Yeah. Also in the Philippines, you have the blessing with the hand. We don't have that.
Yeah, mano. We mano.
We call it mano.
Mano. In Spanish, is the same. Mano.
Same. Oh. So maybe we should have a short break. No?
Okay.
And then we'll just come back. Hello. So we will let Andres back. Okay. Sandali ha, parang naiiba ang ating lipat. So, Andres was sharing a while ago about the family, no? So, Ate Rose, ano pa tayo? Do we have another question for Andres?
Meron ako. Ito, parang we were told that you love history. History.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Can you tell us if there's any difficulty, no, in keeping artifacts, being a minimalist, or is it will it not complicate your love of history with your being a minimalist? Kasi di ba history, you collect artifacts, no, you collect objects and all these things, no, so does it not go against your being a minimalist?
Yes, it does. I was a history teacher in California, and museums and schools are very important to communities and to minimalists because I should say to minimalists who have a love of history, because those of us who are also historians, I'm a historian and a minimalist, and that's difficult because I love old things. I love to collect old things. In the movie, and I love movies also. In the movie Raiders of the Lost Ark, which is an Indiana Jones movie, there's a scene where one of the villains tells Indiana Jones, a young Harrison Ford, he says to him, he takes off his watch and he says, I'll just use mine. He takes off his watch and he says something like, I'm paraphrasing, he says, Dr. Jones, look at this. It's worthless. I bought it for nothing on the street, I bury it in the sand in 100 years, it's priceless. And you know that so there's so much stuff that I don't want, but his old things like old phones, oh my gosh, typewriters. I love typewriters. I don't own any,
The
but I
looking
love them.
one.
Yeah, I love them. I was talking to a friend who was a little older than I am, and we were talking about. I was telling him, "Oh, you should watch this YouTube video, that YouTube video," and he was writing this. You should check out this website, and he was writing them down with a pen and paper. And I was just teasing him. I said, "What's that thing you have in your hand, and that other thing that you have on the table?" And I was referring to his pen and his paper. But it's difficult. I really want to keep things specifically historical things. I want to keep them. I want to hold on to them. I want them to decorate where I live. You know, and because I've had to move a lot, I've had to give up a lot of things. Being a minimalist, it's easy to move. Moving is easy because you don't have a lot of stuff. I love books. We had this tiny condo, and oh yeah, I know we're feeling each other, Ate Loretta. We just, you know, I had books. I didn't have bookshelves, so what I did was I used the floor as my bookshelf, the corner of the floor and the wall, and I would line up books there, and then I would put the books on the shelf, which was under the TV, and then I put the books against some other books against the other wall. It drove my wife nuts. You know, we would. I've got you can't see it, but next to my desk, there's a little bookshelf, and then on one of the shelves in here in where I live, it's filled with books also.
Can we see it,
books.
Andres? Can we see your books?
Well,
You're
like I said last week, not now, but like I said last week, if anybody wants to come over and look at my desk and, you know, see what it's like, you can also come over, and then you can see what my books are like. But
You're a
like,
space minimalist also. Space
oh,
minimalist.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. But you know, and you know, when I move, I have to get rid of books because one thing that I don't like about the Philippines actually is that a lot of young people they read for leisure, especially the teenage girls and the girls in their 20s. They read the romantic books but when a lot of Filipinos, it seems, when they become adults, they just don't have time to read. So they don't read for leisure, and I read for leisure, and I also read to continue to educate myself. I don't just read fiction; I also read history
Self-help
and
books.
politics. And books can be expensive. You know, you go to you buy a brand new hardbound book at
Very
fully
expensive.
booked bookstore. It can cost you more than 1,000 pesos. And so that's the thing. My wife can't stand that. She's like, you're spending all this money on all these books, and then all they do is take up space. And I'm gonna get in trouble, but I'm gonna say it anyway. My response is like, you watch, you know, Filipino television, okay? You know those you know TV in the Philippines. Okay,
Drama.
So no
Korean
offense.
drama.
Telenovela.
No. I'm not talking about K-drama. I'm talking about Filipino TV. We're talking about the low budget, low quality, the cops shooting the drug dealers, or the monsters.
Telenovela.
Or worse. Yeah, the worst is the telenovelas, which we also have. We also say in Spanish, the telenovelas. My wife loves that stuff, and she watches that stuff. So she complains about me and my books, and I tell her, "You are too intelligent to watch those telenovelas." But hey, that's what marriage is, right?
Yeah.
Your spouse has things that drive you crazy, but you stay with them anyway. And just quickly, I don't know if you guys remember, now that we're on the subject of TV, because I love theater, I love television, I love movies. I don't know if you guys remember Bagani.
Yeah.
Bagani.
Yeah,
Bagani.
yeah. It was a
Bagani.
TV
That's one
show, and
TV show. One of the
yeah,
telenovelas of it. One of the.
yeah. Which I thought. So let me critique, just briefly. I'll critique Filipino entertainment, and then I'll praise Filipino entertainment. So first, the
Okay.
critique. I thought Bagani was really silly because it's all these stories based on indígena myths, but like
Yeah.
everybody there is half white or they look white, and English is their best language, and all the characters they're playing are indígenas. Okay, whatever. So that's my criticism. Now here's my praise. My praise, just really quickly, there are 3 movies that every Filipino, I think, needs to see in the following order. You should even, history teachers should show this in their history classes too. The first is General Luna,
Yeah.
which is on
We
Netflix.
watched
You should
that.
definitely see it. You should also see Goyo, which is the sequel.
Goyo.
And another film which came out earlier but takes place later, so you should see this third. But it's harder to find. Well, I'm sure you could go to the market in you could find the pirated DVD copy over there at Davao City Hall. Is called Quezon's Game. And it's
Quezon.
about yes, and it's about El Presidente Manuel Quezon, and he saved
The first president of the Commonwealth.
Yeah.
well, but he died before the Philippines could become independent, and he saved 2,000 Jews from Hitler.
Yeah, true.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that's the reason why Filipinos are not required to have a visa in going to Israel. That's
right.
their way.
That's right. Because of
That's
him.
their way
Because of
of
him. That's one of the few countries where Filipinos can travel visa
true,
free.
that's true.
And also just quickly, there's a book. You got me talking about history. That's why I'm talking about all this history. There's a book I highly recommend called Rampage, and it's written by an American, and it's about World War II. It's about when General MacArthur left Manila because he knew he knew that he would lose the battle against the Japanese. So he thought Japan would just come, but they didn't. They occupied the city and they did horrible things, which I won't repeat here. But then MacArthur came back, and then in a battle, these were Americans and Filipino guerrillas fighting together against the Japanese. They took Manila back. The Japanese had completely just destroyed Manila, just destroyed it completely. There's a museum in Manila which is trying to keep the memory of the Battle of Manila alive. That's what the book is about. The book is called Rampage, but it's about the Battle of but it's about the Battle of Manila. And some of you may remember, some of the older viewers may remember that there was president of the Philippines, and there were, I don't know how many, but there were some Japanese prisoners still in the Philippines, high-ranking, I think, generals who were guilty of war crimes. And this Filipino president, I forget which one, he pardoned them, and he let them out of
the
jail.
Philippines.
And it's very beautiful what he said. He said after he pardoned them, he let them out of jail. He said, "I do not want and this even I got emotional when I read this, and I'm getting emotional now talking about it. But he said, and I'm not even Filipino, but but he said, I do not want my children and my grandchildren to have the same hate that I have for these people who may yet be our friends. And that's so there's a kind of minimalism in that too, in letting
Yeah.
go of pain, or
Letting go.
yeah, or not giving your pain to others,
others.
especially children. I'm not a parent, okay, but I do know that parents. But I've talked about the influence that my parents have on me, and I've talked about and to a larger degree, history has an influence on all of us. So again, another long answer, but the short answer is it's difficult to have a love of history and to be a minimalist, because when you love history, you love artifacts.
Artifact.
Yes.
Yes.
And
Andres,
yeah.
you are even more well versed in terms
With
of
our-
Philippine history than most of the Filipinos, I think.
So we will look for that book, Rampage.
Yes,
Yeah.
Rampage. It's
Yeah.
written by an American, and he's actually some Filipinos who have majored in history at university or who teach history. They are probably familiar with him, and they have probably read other books by him. He has probably read. I think he's written at least one other book about another point of history in the Philippines.
We will do shortcut. We will ask our history friend teachers. Shortcut, minimalist of time.
Can
Oh,
I
it's
ask one
seven.
more
It's seven.
question?
Yeah, yes. It's still 7:53, ate. It's still 7:53.
Okay. So, Andres, aside from your love of history, do you also love pets? Do you have pets at home? Pets.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna anger a lot of people, but you cannot have pets and be a minimalist. You cannot. You cannot
Yes.
have pets and be a
Okay, I
minimalist.
understand.
Now, before you say, Andres, oh, but you've never owned a pet before. Yeah, I have. I actually, some years ago, I had 2 dogs. When I was a little
Wow.
boy, I had a fish. Later
Wow.
in life, I had 2 dogs. I don't have them anymore. You cannot be a minimalist and have pets.
Pets.
I might get hate for that, but that's a fact. I'm not even going to qualify it by saying, in my opinion. No. You cannot be a minimalist and have pets. And look, yes, I make a lot of money for someone living in the Philippines. Yes, I live comfortably in the Philippines. Yes, I go to a Brisa Mall, and I'll tell you what sometimes to eat something or do whatever, and I'll tell you what I see at a Brisa Mall. I see people walking their dogs with diapers on the dog. I see people, which is required for to maintain the cleanliness of the mall. I see people pushing their dogs in strollers. Um, and I'm not judging, and my intention is not to judge anyone. But
Correct.
whenever I go to the mall and I come back from the mall, I see people on the street who are homeless. I see sometimes children on the street who are homeless, and I feel it is, and this happens in the United. And look, we can criticize the United States, the richest country in the world, but there's still a lot of poverty. Hey, you want to do another show on that? You want to attack my country? I'll be the first person to attack my own country. I really will. Okay, I haven't lived in the United States for 8 years now. I do not want to go back. Okay, but anyway, it really should anger. It should anger us that there are these people putting so much of their emotion and their money and their time into
It's
this pet when there are so many people in the Philippines who don't even have sandals, don't even have flip-flops. They're walking around barefoot and they're asking for money. So
begging for money.
yeah. So look, minimalism is not something that privileged white people like myself do because it's cool or interesting. No. I take this seriously. But again, going back to I think our very first talk 2 weeks ago, it kind of comes naturally to me. I'm just not attracted to and this is another reason my mother and I don't get along. Drives my mom nuts. My mom's like, Mijo, why don't you dress better? Why don't you look nicer? And I'm just like, Mama, I ain't into that. And I think, I know I've thought it. I don't know if I've ever told it to my father, but I think I told him one time, I said to him, Papa, this is the big difference between, well, I'll say it now. If you're watching, I'm like, look, Papa, this is one of the big differences between you and me. You really want money. I don't. And when I do want money, it's for different reasons than you want money. You want money because you want money. I want money just because I don't want to be stressed. I don't want to worry about my bills. I just want to have, I want to be rich and I want to have more than enough. So that way I really don't worry about anything. If you have a pet right now, okay, you don't have to get rid of your pet. I'm not saying get rid of your pet now, give your pet away, but you cannot be a minimalist and have pets, and it's really not. I don't think it's a good thing where you see, especially in a poor country like the Philippines, where a lot of people don't even have enough to eat. You see people giving all of this time and money and their emotions and their lives to these pets. And just quickly, another thing, I lived in Taiwan for 4 years. I was exposed to Buddhism quite a bit, and I mentioned the monk who died a few days ago, Thich Nhat Hanh. For someone who has been exposed to Buddhism in the ways that I have been, it really it annoys me when people in North America and Europe say, "Oh, Buddhism is so cool," it looks so cool, it looks so interesting, and I'm not saying that because I'm a Catholic. I'm saying that because I lived in a Buddhist place for over 4 years, and so when I hear them say that, I feel what I think is, okay, you know what? Don't eat meat. Don't have sex, and shave your head, because Buddhist monks and Buddhist nuns also shave their heads.
Yes.
And do that for a year. Do those 3 things for 1 year, and then you tell me how cool you think Buddhism is. And that's kind of a challenge. You see, for me, it's so easy for me to judge, and and I don't want to be unfair, and I don't want to come across as judging people, because like I said, minimalism is very easy for me to do. A combination of maybe I was born that way, and maybe I was just, my life has made me that way, one or the other, a combination of both. But for others, and I'm not judging, I know I keep saying that, but it's because I want to emphasize that. For some people, it is difficult to be a minimalist. It's hard to not chase money. It's hard to not chase career. It's hard to see those things in the store or on your phone and not want it. And when you want something, it's hard to say no. I mean, when you're a kid, it's hard to say no. When you're adult, it's still hard to say no. Uh, so again, another long answer, but the simple answer is you cannot be a minimalist and have pets.
Pets.
It's quite
Yeah.
expensive, really, the food, and even when the dog, especially those breed dogs, no, when they get sick,
Sick.
very expensive in the
Oh,
yeah. We go
yeah,
to the
yeah.
veterinarian. Okay, so it's 8:02. And
Wow.
Andres, maybe you can be with us later part of this year. We hope so, no? And then we really thank you, Andres, for sharing a very beautiful life experience, how it is to live a minimalist life, and then we really learned many things from you. Ate Rose and Ate Mers, would you mind saying your parting words before I will also play our teaser for the next month's episodes?
Okay,
Ate Rose?
really, I learned a lot from you, Andres, no? And thank you very much for your openness, no? For your, you're very witty, no? And funny,
Thank
but
you.
you gave us a lot to think about. Thank you very much. And I hope our viewers are also able to learn, no? From what Andres had shared to us for the last three Tuesdays. There were three, no?
Tuesdays.
Three.
Yeah,
Oh,
three
okay.
Tuesdays.
Thank you very much, Andres. Maybe we
Oh,
will
thank
see each
you.
other again, no?
I hope so. Yes.
Ah. Okay, Mers, yours.
Ate Mers.
So, Andres, thank you very much. So, like Rose, I also learned a lot from you. And I hope that you will be able to find real happiness here in the Philippines with your family and also with the people that you are engaging to, especially with, I hope you will be able to engage also with the young people so that they can also learn a lot from you.
Wow, thank you. And I would like
Thank
to
you.
end this the evening the challenge of Mr. Andres Chang for all of us. If you have something in your house, in your home that you really want to give us a gift, I wish that we could do that. No, even there is no occasion, we just give it out. Especially the things na sa Tagalog, I will say in Tagalog, anis na matagal na nating tinatago and it's very difficult for us to let go. And that is the challenge of Mr. Andres Chang to all of us. No, let us let go of the things na minsan we just do it, no, a decoration in our different houses, but other people need it. Okay, good evening, everyone.